Welcome to the Intercut Podcast, the weekly show going over the TV, movies, and entertainment that people can't cut away from. Chase didn't do it. I'm your co-host, Zach Rishevich, and joining me, we're in the end game now. It's Arturo Zurita.
How are you guys doing? I haven't shaved. I've been pulled over 25 times by Jersey.
It looks good though. Looks good.
Not to the Jersey police. At this point, yeah, they think I'm the damn mule. Where are you going? We're going to go see the mule. He said he's got 20 pounds of cocaine in the back of the car. No, I'm glad to be here.
Live and in person again?
I've survived New York for the time being. I already told both of you guys that I've been on the subway for the first time. I've been on the Jersey train for the first time. I've seen a man come in and practically urinate in the back of the train.
It happens.
happens.
Typical Jersey experience.
Y'all disgusting over here. But I found my first good actual theater, which was the AMC in Lincoln Square.
It's a good one.
Legit IMAX.
Yeah, it is.
A bit more like just a stretch. But yeah, we have today, as you can see as I'm sharing my screen, with Chase from a few mixed reviews. He's been on a couple of other times.
A couple times, yeah.
But not in person.
Not in person.
This is exciting.
This is crazy.
Although we're still not like in the same frame. But
But this is not what I expected at all. Like I expected a different room. Like I can't spoil what this is, but it was different than what I expected. That's why
there's a body over there. We don't talk about that one.
Actually,
I think the craziest part is I'd say all of us met around the same year, which was 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Something around there. I can't remember. But
this is the first time meeting you in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Even though we almost met a couple times.
Yeah, I attempted to meet you.
Yeah, but I denied it multiple times.
Yeah.
I think it's because like most people think that we just like have the podcast and
Right.
probably known each other for a year or something like that. So we've gone to like we've all had like 100, 200 around there.
I remember when
some
we
of
were
us
like,
stopped.
I was like,
Yeah, we were like,
other people
hey,
can go.
we're all gonna make it to the top. All right, guys, I can't wait. Where'd y'all go? I just left them behind. I mean, you went to
happens.
school. He's
I
been
guess.
making actual like music videos and stuff. But
School's a bad excuse.
yeah, it's a bad excuse. What am I gonna learn?
I have 3 jobs though too. I feel like that's something.
we're busy. We're busy
Yeah,
people.
We keep busy.
Yeah. Part of what keeps us busy, watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about the best movies of 2018. Before we do, I know right after we finished filming our episode, a couple big things happened in the world of film. I don't know if we want to touch on quick.
Golden
First,
Globes?
The Endgame trailer dropped. We haven't talked about that.
Oh,
That's true.
it's decent.
It's pretty good.
That's it. There's
I
nothing
think
else
it's
to
like
say
the
about it.
perfect teaser trailer though.
Cool.
Honestly, it doesn't show anything.
There's nothing else. They're full of crap. Oh, the name is in there. Have you seen the people trying to connect the things from the poster that they came out with? Or it was
Yeah,
him,
like
sitting,
the-
and it's supposed to spell Endgame.
Nah, I'm not buying it.
Russo put out this like it was like a wallpaper of him just sitting like in a set in a lot.
And they're
It
like,
was like
the
clue.
ladders spell M.
What?
So
Some
people were
dumb
like,
shit.
oh, they were spelling things out, and they're like, the title is in here somewhere. We got to figure out the clues. Endgame comes on. People are like, of course. Connecting dots that don't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Like E's this big, N's this small.
I have not heard anything about
Yeah.
this.
It's the dumbest thing. It's just people
ridiculous.
looking
We'll put
into
up the
things that weren't
photo
even there.
for
But
Alright, that sounds good.
I think
yeah.
that's really all there is to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent
It's
title.
hype.
I can't say any
Yeah.
more than that.
I'm excited.
And then the other big thing that happened, we were talking about Kevin Hart hosting the Oscars. By the time our episode went up,
Yeah, I'm really excited
no
for
longer hosting the Oscars.
Get gritty.
Well, what happened?
Get gritty.
Twitter happened.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Any favorite potential replacements?
robot.
I've been saying Conan for the longest time, but if
Conan
can't
would be
get
out-
it, but if Kevin Hart can't get it, I
How
don't
can
think no one's
Conan
gonna
not?
get it. I
Conan's a
feel
little
like
different.
They're gonna find something on Conan for sure. If they found something on Kevin Hart, they're gonna find something on Conan.
Oh, it wasn't hard to find stuff on Kevin.
Yeah.
Just look at his last
That's
year.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, I just always thought Conan would be a good choice.
Conan would be a dope choice. We've always said the guys that we would prefer keep at the indie.
John Mulaney and Nick Kroll.
What would be dope is to get Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
They always kill it.
They always kill it for the Golden Globes. I don't know why. Ricky Gervais would
I was
be
about to say Ricky
would be
Gervais
the
is
greatest
always
thing
a
in the
good
world.
He
choice.
offered up his services.
Yeah, and
Has
they.
he done the Oscars before? He does the Golden Globes.
No, he's done
The
multiple
Globes
times, but-
4 times.
If that's what you want to
That's
call it,
crazy.
that was crazy. He would have people.
People were throwing out after last year's show because they did a
Tiffany
presentation
Haddish?
together. Tiffany Haddish and Maya Rudolph. That could be a fun duo.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, with
Yeah.
Maya Rudolph, I think they'd
I'd
love
try
each
it.
other really dope.
Yeah.
But then you were talking about the fact that they might actually be doing no host.
Yeah. So that's the rumor
That'd
coming
be
out
so
right
weird,
now.
though.
It's just like a McDonald's kiosk.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about no host. I feel like while it sounds weird, if you think about the Oscar host's job,
They don't do
It's to
anything.
fill
only-
the gaps for a half hour.
the only thing that isn't just replaceable by a presenter is like the 5-minute monologue at the top.
Yeah.
So we don't get a 5-minute.
Or
stale
you
comedy
do.
monologue.
Exactly, you
Or you
do,
get
but it's like a
gritty.
group of people.
Yeah,
Sure,
delivered
yeah.
by Neil Patrick Harris.
And then everybody else who does their thing, it's just the presenters. You don't really need a host. All the host does, I wouldn't even say it fills in the time. It adds time that shouldn't be there.
I mean, I would be surprised. I won't be surprised if they decide, you know what, no host. It's going to make the ceremony go faster. This is going to be the best thing for the broadcast.
It's just
and then
serious.
it's going to be exactly as long as it always is.
No,
Probably.
it probably would end up being that.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to get into our top 10 movies of
That's
the
what
year.
over here. Brought to you by Dos Equis, the only beer you should be drinking.
Don't give them some
If
free
it's
pub.
Nah, I'm gonna give Dos Equis. Dos Equis, Dos Equis has been there for me through thick and thin. No, I always say Dos Equis is the best out of all the Mexican beers. He's got a Corona over there, which is utterly disgusting. But we just found one as we went.
No love for
This is
Negro
fine.
over
Modelo.
here.
This is incredible.
No love for Negro Modelo.
Ew, no, absolutely not. That's disgusting. No. Tecate's like the only one that comes close just because it tastes like a Mexican Sam Adams Oktoberfest. It tastes like an autumn leaf.
I feel
But
that.
it's Dos Equis all the way. I mean, it's got one of the best mascots, everything else.
It's pretty good.
This is our pitch, first of all,
Yeah.
for beer companies to get us.
This is our
we
sponsor.
actually we actually tried a really dope one, which is a blueberry.
Blue Point, Blueberry Ale. Very good.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
So this is pretty much a celebration for
I
the
feel
end
like
of
an
the year.
adult now drinking this.
Oh yes, he is 21. We ID'd him before we invited him.
22 now. But
I also love the idea of the regular Intercut listener tuning in right now and watching
going like-
10 minutes of, hey guys, we're drinking.
Wait a minute.
true.
They consume stuff?
Yeah.
I didn't know YouTubers ate.
I thought they were 17.
But no, pretty much we're gonna wrap up everything from the end of the year. I've pretty much seen everything. I know that you guys wanted to go through a list of the things that you still wanted to approach,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
possibly get.
I know Chase and I haven't seen quite as much as you. You see quite a lot.
How many movies have you seen this year?
I want to say I've passed for 20.
420?
Yeah, new
There's
ones.
no shot.
I'm at.
You're a liar.
I'm not like that. I've logged into Letterboxd so far is, I want to say 300.
Fuck.
It's a lot of movies.
Absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not at that.
But my
amount.
wife also
I'm
loves
a
movies.
lot closer to
Close to that.
100.
Damn.
I know some of the movies that I was really interested in seeing. A couple that were recommended to me by Art, even, including We the Animals, Burning. I think you liked Unsane, Cam, which recently popped up on Netflix, and Mandy. I also didn't get to see Suspiria or Can You Ever Forgive Me?
No, you're not missing any much.
No, you're missing
Leave No
something.
Trace or Skate Kitchen. Thunder Road even is another one I was
Oh,
excited
yeah.
about. But plenty of movies that I think I saw that I'm more interested in. I think I'm pretty happy with my top 10, my top 12.
Mhm.
How about you, Chase? Anything you
I mean,
didn't see?
I agree with what you just said. Like, I think I have a pretty solid top 10 right now, even though there's still a lot I really want to see. Like, I've purposely put off a couple big movies just because my sister really wants to go this week.
Right.
I'm going home this week, and I'm going to binge them with her. So, some movies I haven't seen yet that are, I guess, pretty big in terms of other people's lists. Paddington 2. Haven't seen Paddington 1
I
yet.
haven't seen Paddington 2 either.
Yeah, everyone loves it. Let's see. You Were Never Really Here. I really want to see. The Rider, I heard great things. Tully, I've heard great things. The Tale. Lino and Pete, I don't know. It's like another horse movie everyone talks about.
Yeah, that got a little bit of hype earlier this year. I
Yeah,
feel
so
like.
could be something. Burning, Blind Spotting, Never Going Back is one I was really interested in.
What did you see this year?
We're getting to it. I've seen a lot of good movies. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen, like We the Animals, Mandy, Battle of Buster Scruggs, Orson Welles movie, House of Jack Bill I'm really interested in. Roma I'm seeing like tomorrow. Beale Street I'm seeing this week.
You said the favorite.
Yeah,
This is
favorite I'm seeing
45
this
pages
week.
long.
Spider-Man I'm seeing this week.
His
The
not
Mule.
not seen top 10 is better than his top 10.
So here's what I haven't seen this year. Hopefully,
So tune into a few mixed reviews next week to see
Yeah.
how this changes. But there's a good amount I haven't seen yet. But that being said, I think 2018's been an outstanding year.
Yeah.
For film, especially over the past couple of years. That the 10 I mentioned right now are 10 I'd still recommend anyway. So,
Better than 2014. We always have this debate.
Nah.
See, I've always
We've
said
always had this debate about
Yeah,
2014
but
being one of the best years.
there's a
in film.
difference between better and favorite. I think 2014 is a better year. I have put it this way: my number one beats any movie in 2014 for me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to me, that makes 2018 more of a
Interesting.
favorite.
Interesting.
And like my top three are all like masterpieces in my head.
Yeah, for
me.
me, I've got about 20 movies that I'd be comfortable being in my top 10. So that's, to me,
There you
is
go.
like a decent year. I'm not going to say that it's like one of my favorite years in the past few, because there's not like anything that and there's a couple movies that I love, but not necessarily a lot.
Right.
My top 4, I'm really, really happy with. Everything from like 5 to 15 is a toss-up.
Right.
I could name my number 15 movie number 5 and not really think twice about it.
That's fair.
Art, you haven't seen a couple? Vice?
Art's seen everything.
I'm missing 3. Avatar 4. I haven't seen Vice. I haven't seen the Sherlock Holmes movie, which is the reason why I wanted to put
That
it
could
on
be
this
good.
list.
I haven't seen a trailer.
He takes a selfie
But
with
Step
a-
Brothers,
I don't-
basically remake.
No,
almost?
that looks like trash.
Does it look trash?
Have you not seen a trailer?
No.
So you know when it takes place, right?
I mean, it's just Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
And Watson,
He takes a
right?
selfie by
Oh,
getting
that-
getting the
Man.
old steampunk like camera, putting it
Damn.
on like a walker,
Never mind.
and then taking a
Never mind.
selfie,
I
and
thought-
then
I'm
he
still
still
gonna see it.
and then he still
See
goes, "Hey girl."
See, I had hope because like the Step
Not paying
Brothers
50
reunion
bucks.
could
No.
have
It's a
been
great
something.
cast.
Could have been something.
So yeah, it's pretty much just Vice, that
Holmes and Watson.
yeah, Holmes and Watson. I think that's it. Those are the main 2. Oh, Destroyer. Those are 3.
Right.
Those are the literal big
I've heard
2.
good things about
I'll say
Destroyer,
3.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. And then I'll be wrapped up.
So yeah, we will be talking about those movies hopefully on social media or maybe on these channels even. But there's a lot of good movies that we're going to still be able to talk about. Let's start out with our honorable mentions. Chase, do you want to kick us off? I don't know if there's any movies that you wish could make it into your top 10, but just not quite there.
Sure,
Jurassic
I'm
World.
doing quickly. No, not Jurassic World 2. This is a pretty good year for movies, so I'm going to mention 9 movies real quick.
Cool.
Old Man with the Gun, I thought was a really unique heist movie. It felt like this
Very
cute,
cool.
almost like romantic comedy heist movie that I've never really seen before.
Another one that I haven't seen yet. but
It's really good. Like
Yeah.
not my top 10, but something I'd still recommend to like. It's one of those movies I'd recommend to anybody. I'm like, yeah, if you want like a feel good heist movie, like it's pretty good. Let's see what I got next. Minding the Gap, I just checked out this week.
Hey,
I know
he really
you're-
likes that.
that's gonna
Yeah,
show up
Minding
later.
the
He's a
Gap.
big fan.
I thought it was really good. I
Yeah.
really liked it. Biggest thing that stood out to me was the cinematography, and I'm forgetting the director's name.
Bing
off
Liu.
the- That's it.
Wait, which movie?
Minding the Gap.
Oh, okay.
Where
Oh yeah, because he was a
is
skater. He was
because
with
he
them.
is a skateboarder and like
yeah, he's the
just-
star and the
yeah,
documentarian.
just the steady cam on a skateboard just has such a cool effect that that stood out for me. And a lot of directors and documentaries don't really make themselves a part of the movie, so seeing that was super cool to me.
Yeah.
So I really like that. Isle of Dogs, great, amazing animation. Infinity War, just because of how big it was and how they were able to pull that off. Mission Impossible, I know is going to be on a lot of people's top 10. It's a great year for movies, though, so it doesn't make my top 10. Beautiful Boy, one of the movies that I know you weren't as high on it, but really personal movie to me. Just really hit me in my emotion. I don't know if it's a great movie, but I really liked it.
I don't know if it's a great movie.
That's the thing, though. Like, you have to determine what's a better movie
I
and
asked
what's
Siri,
like a favorite.
And Siri
It's
said,
an
"Shut
honorable
up."
mention.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think favorites should
Yeah.
make like personal lists.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah. So, Three Identical Strangers, I thought was a great.
That was
Yeah.
that one's
I
crazy.
thought it was awesome.
I think that's all in all of our honorable
Yeah,
mentions.
like
Yeah.
if I was gonna recommend one documentary to people that want to get into documentaries, I think Three Identical Strangers is a really good start. Creed 2, I really liked Creed 2 a lot, more than Creed 1, which I know you disagree with.
So it was
I-
been great having Chase on the
I-
podcast today.
I
Next
cried.
week we're going to.
I never cry in movies. I cried in Creed 2.
What? How did you cry in Creed 2?
The scene with the baby, if you have a heart, will make you cry. It was incredible.
Did you
Are
see
you
it?
kidding me? It's so
He's
good.
got a Philly bias. That's the reason why he likes it so
He
much.
went to
I got a
school in
Philly
Philly.
bias, too.
Yeah.
Right, but you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So you
Both
haven't
Creeds are
swayed
great.
over.
I liked Creed 2 a little.
No,
little
one
more.
Creed is phenomenal.
But
The second
that's
Creed's
the thing.
like, wow,
I think Creed
this is
1
a movie that came on Thanksgiving.
I think Creed 1 is a better movie. I like Creed 2 more.
So
I
this
think,
is what you
I think
use all
people
the
start
time,
making
huh?
Yeah, because
He
that's
cheats
what
on
it's
his
about.
wife. Look, I
That's
really
what it's
love you.
But I love
But
it more.
Dude, how did I not
And
see this?
my final honorable mention, I really want this to be my top 10, barely misses. Won't You Be My Neighbor is a fantastic documentary. That also made me cry, actually,
Yeah.
now that I think about it. It was just
That
like,
was the one that did it. Yeah.
it made
For me,
cry
yeah.
too.
I think that was the only
it's
movie this
great.
year.
I never cry in movies, and it happened twice, I guess.
I
this
never
year.
cry in movies.
Crying
Twice
in
in
a
a
movie
movie,
will be a
twice in a
theme,
row,
I think,
yeah.
on this top 10.
Yeah, just an amazing documentary about an amazing person. That's all
Yeah.
I have to say. So those
Yeah.
are my honorable mentions.
Won't You Be My Neighbor showed up at number 19 on my list. Mission Impossible Fallout showed up at number 18. Isle of Dogs showed up at number 17. So you've hit a couple of my honorable mentions already. I'll also throw out Custody, the French film. It's really, really great. It starts a little uneventful and then just gets more and more and more tense in ways that you don't necessarily expect. A couple more things that are showing up on my honorable mentions are Annihilation, Stars Born, and Searching, and The Tale.
You didn't put The Tale in? I thought The Tale would for sure get in. With that one scene you like.
I recently shuffled it up, and it just missed out. It's number 11 for me.
All right, but it still has that one scene that I know you've had on the top of the list.
Yeah. So I love The Tale. I think it has one of the most interesting filmic twists of the year, which we've talked
Have you
about
seen
previously.
No, I said it was one of the movies that missed.
Yeah,
So
I
have to get on it.
I spoil it for people because it happens in the first
You know about
third
it,
of
right?
the movie.
I know it's like someone gets abused.
No. The
So
thing in the movie.
Something.
So the interesting
retelling the story.
filmic twist that happens
I knew
is
something. I
it's
know
flashbacks to
something
Laura.
like that.
It's flashbacks to Laura Dern when she's younger, and she's imagining herself as like a 16, 17-year-old girl.
And she's cast, you see her.
Okay.
And then she starts talking to her mom, and she's going through a photo album, and she's like, "No, that's not how old you were. This
They
is how
recast
old
the
you
girl.
were." And they change it to a
Okay.
different actress who's like 13.
That's pretty
And
cool.
suddenly everything becomes recontextualized.
So now all the scenes that you just saw
between like
with
a
the
young
older actress,
budding
but now it's a younger
woman,
actress, now they're a lot creepier.
and it's just
And then
this-
the rest of the movie
it's
continues.
this,
See, that's the thing. My top 10 list is going to change a week from now. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I'm going to catch up on
it's this
everything.
brilliant meta twist to the movie that is one of the most creative like casting decisions.
Honestly, I think this is why it's better that we do this list a little bit earlier because it's always going to change depending on the movies wherever they go.
true.
What
It's gonna
doesn't
change a year
change,
from now.
what doesn't change though, is the moments in movies, which is why I think those are going to be the better ones to cover as we get closer towards the end of the year.
absolutely.
And we can keep doing this until damn Oscars are what, late February?
Yeah.
We could do this at Sundance whenever else. Oh yeah, this is the Sundance group here too, by the way.
Sundance boys.
See you soon.
But yeah, I almost feel like the best movies of the year, that's cool, but like what are the scenes that you talk about? Like that scene
Yeah,
right there, you
that
can
is
have
one of my
way
top
more
10 scenes of the
conversation than
year.
maybe some of the
Easy.
ones that we have over there.
Easy.
You did mention Custody. That's one that I've been trying to see. And they sent me a screener at Chicago Film Fest, and it had no
Subtitles.
I was like, I don't speak.
Damn.
Wait, that actually happened?
Yeah, I was like, I don't speak
No
this.
way.
Damn.
So,
What are your honorable mentions?
so I Never Cry in movies, so Ocean's 8 was actually... my honorable
Top 25.
mentions. Let's get into my top 30. The Endless, I thought was a very interesting movie. It is on Netflix. I'm just going to go through like a bunch over here.
Yeah.
Mine, I never put in any particular order. Maybe just the top two. Everything else, just it's a lot of movies. Watch them. The Endless is on Netflix. I thought that was a pretty interesting one with the way that they have absolutely no budget and they make this movie. Have you ever heard of these guys?
No. Who are they?
They made an older movie. I'm blanking on the name of it. I think it was called Resolutions. You've seen Spring.
Sprint?
Yeah, that
Spring.
horror movie.
It's a horror
Spring,
movie
right?
where like
Spring?
Spring, where these like
I think I know the
tourists.
poster, actually.
Yeah, it's like a crazy looking
Yeah,
poster.
yeah,
They
yeah.
made that movie.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they made something else in between.
Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead.
Yes, it's two dudes, and they star in the movie as well. They just like swapped out their names so they can remember themselves. And it's this like whole kind of time loop movie.
Okay.
Confusing at times, but I found it to be really interesting, especially when you're like looking at the fact that they're like they have the most minimum budget possible.
Fair.
The Guilty
Didn't see this one.
No.
is getting remade already. Have you heard about this?
No.
So The Guilty is pretty much this was a Sundance one. People are saying, "Oh, you have to go see." And the lady ruined it for me too. So shout out to you, lady. There was this. It's pretty much you got this guy who's a dispatcher, and the whole movie just takes place like that, as he's uncovering the person who he should be helping or whether he shouldn't be helping them, and he's going through his own stuff as well, and and it all just takes
So it's
place.
kind of
in
like what was that Tom Hardy movie? Lock.
a little bit, but I like this
Yeah,
one.
obviously there's a different.
But I like
But
this.
I like this one, and it's
I
already
never
getting
saw
remade.
Lock either.
So that's a pretty dope one to check out. Border. If I see it again,
This
may
one's
go a
in
little bit
theaters
higher.
now, I think,
This
right?
is a weird movie. You need to see this movie.
Really?
Do people know what it's about? Because I never saw
I've
trailers
never
or
heard of it.
anything. I
don't
just went
think
into
so.
it.
Yeah, it's a foreign movie that's in theaters now. I think it's like they're hoping to get like an Oscar nomination, but it doesn't seem
Yeah.
likely.
I've never heard
But
of
yeah,
it.
no, talk about what it's about because I don't think a lot of people know.
So, I'm just gonna go off of what the poster said when I got the tickets
Okay.
at a film festival. These two beings don't stand out in a world full of humans, and they end up falling in love with each other. And that may be the worst thing like possible when they realize the secrets that they have. They look like they're deformed, in a sense. I'm just gonna say that because I don't want to say more about the movie because I didn't know anything other than the like poster practically saying that they're dogs. Like they work, they live among
Dogs.
humans. But like, look at this poster right here. They live amongst humans, right? This is what she looks like. Zach will probably post up
Looks like a
something
werewolf.
there. Yeah, I mean, they
Yeah.
practically work like dogs because, like, her job is when people are coming in, she's customs, and she smells it out.
What?
She smells out your heart rate, and that's what makes her know that you have something in your USB drive. That's not the weird part of the movie because that's not even where it starts.
It sounds very weird, but I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
This
at the
movie
same
gets
time.
even crazier. Some people are going to be disgusted from it, but I think it's super
Fair.
interesting. Shouts out to Roma, Tully, Star is Born. I'm surprised. See, there's been a bunch of shuffling with my list, so it's like Paddington 2 is lower than it needs to be. Ones that I have yet to put in here because I update my letterbox like every other month. Shoplifters.
Yeah.
I really like that one. That's it. I don't know why I thought there was another one. Shoplifters.
Just
Oh, that's why. It's Shoplifters. I really like the way that story was told. I know that one's going to get a nomination. Does it really matter if Roma... and we'll get to that, too. If Roma gets nominated for Best Foreign Film. They get nominated for Best Picture.
That happened with
Who's winning Best Foreign Film?
that happened with Amor.
Yeah.
Amor a couple years ago.
It's
yeah.
like, why is everyone else even showing up?
Yeah.
So Roma's clearly going to take that, but I like that one and the first two acts of Box
First two
Larks.
acts. You're big
Box
on this.
Larks.
I made this. I made a whole big thing about it, so, and I was telling both of these guys that I was sitting there. I rarely knew anything about the movie, and Natalie Portman and I are best friends because we
saw it play together.
Yeah, we saw it play together. We
Oh,
saw
cool.
Lucas Hedges do something on
it's
stage.
Beverly Gallery.
Yeah, and so considering that we're practically friends, I can give an honest opinion about her performance. The first half before she comes out blew my mind. I had no idea what the inciting incident was for the thing. You know nothing about
I
it.
know
That's going to be great.
zero
And the
about
way he just starts off the movie.
I believe it.
I'm not going to spoil anything
believe
other than
it.
the first two acts. All I was thinking was, how am I going to replace what is my number one on my letterbox and then not say anything?
But then
and
it just shits the bed.
Yeah. Halfway through, I'm like, ooh,
Damn.
man.
That's
And it
tough.
was okay. Then the ending just turns into something else completely that I won't spoil. And it was sad because the first two acts of that, I legit thought was like, this might be top of like the
Wow.
decade.
So would it still be like a high honorable mention for you because of that?
I just mentioned it.
I mean, yeah, but like
It's the last honorable mention I got.
How high? How high?
What more do you want
how
from me?
close?
I've given you. Okay, yeah. I would say that if we're doing top 10,
All right, so for the top 10, let's just chime in if somebody mentions your movie and it's something in your top 10, even if it's not your number yet, just chime in too.
Okay.
Right.
You want to start us off?
sure. We the Animals. We the Animals is a movie that absolutely nobody saw, but there's something that I love about
Didn't see
directors.
it.
Literally.
Hey,
Yeah.
you'll finally watch it.
I've been
because you're
wanting
coming
to
to
watch
Sundance, so you won't miss all of
It's
these
true.
movies.
It's true.
We the Animals was one that I caught like last second. I went in there and just I always talk about like I love the movie experience sometimes, not when I'm in Jersey, but like when you're actually sitting down and like the director's there and like he comes out and he says, "I hope you like this movie,
Yeah. Please.
even a little bit, because I gave it my all." Okay.
Yeah.
And I personally felt it for this movie. I thought it was a very well told story. It's very like artsy because the kid like draws and then the drawings become like a transition to the next scene.
Hey, you compared this to like somewhere between Moonlight and Florida
First
Project.
act of Moonlight and all of Florida Project with the kids who are literally just out having fun and they don't even realize the repercussions of everything happening around them. And it's got my boy Luis Castillo. That's the dude right there.
On the rise.
So I have that as my number 10. Are y'all going 10, 10, 10?
Yeah, so for my number 10, I have one that you haven't caught up with yet, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I really enjoyed this one.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah, I mean, there's different sections that are better than other sections. Art and I disagree about what the best section is.
Really? That makes me more intrigued.
Yeah, but I think that there's merit to every section, especially now that I've had a chance to rewatch it. I find it like a much easier movie to watch on the rewatch because you kind of know where they're going and know that there's more stories coming up next. It just got that Coen Brothers wit and that really matter-of-fact sense of humor that I love about them. And they have a really interesting perspective on the Old West. I love the way that they tell the story, and particularly the opening, which we both really
It has
like.
one of my favorite shots of the year. It's
Has
a
the
crazy shot.
best
I rewinded it
moment of
twice.
violence in 2018.
Yeah.
Is in this
It's
movie.
wild.
I'm definitely checking it out this week for sure.
Yeah.
So
And shout out to them because that movie is a power move.
Yeah.
It's the Coen brothers saying, "Yeah, we co-signed Netflix."
But it's also Coen Brothers sneaking a movie into Netflix's format, being like, "Yeah, this is a series.
This was supposed
This
to
is
be
totally
a show. Right? Yeah.
They said,
is
it
that
was
what
a
you think they
show.
did?
Well, no, that was a thing like a year ago,
I think
right?
that's how they got it
'Cause
financed.
I always remember they said they wanted to make a Western show, and I just assumed, they just turned it into a movie. I think, right? This is what that is, right?
At the Venice Film Festival, they said it was always intended to be a movie. So my
But the news said it was the show, right?
My inclination is they were lying to get a movie made.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them.
Because, I mean, how many anthology movies get made even right now? So maybe that's how
true.
it got made.
So you're saying there should be a movie about how Buster Scruggs got made into a movie?
There we go.
Someone will make it, for sure.
Jason's
What's your
number
number 10?
I know it's a movie you weren't high on. I don't know how Zach feels. I went in thinking I'm not going to like this. I just have a bad vibe. I came out really liking First Man a lot.
Oh, okay, cool.
I really like Damien Chazelle for Whiplash. I liked La La Land. I have to rewatch La La Land because everyone's super high on La La Land. I went in thinking, all right, Damien Chazelle's known for like his creative mind, these genius ideas. Why would this man pick a biopic? Why would he pick a true story? It just doesn't seem like it
Another
fits.
space movie.
I felt like I had like 7 anxiety attacks during this entire thing. I thought it was super well done with all the space sequences. The entire third act is mind-blowing at points. Ryan Gosling gives the best cry of the year early on in the first 15 minutes. It was a story that I guess I should have known more about. Like, I know a little bit about Armstrong, but I didn't really know like all the details of everything. I didn't know all the details of everything. I just had a great time with it. I don't know. It's something I feel like I could definitely rewatch. I don't know how it would feel on a smaller screen in my living room, but I just thought the entire last third was incredible. It just really stood out to me.
I don't think either of us disliked it. We were
No,
just-
once I put warp stabilizer on it and all the shots were not just
I
him bouncing back
think
and
that
forth.
makes it so much more intense though with all the shaky cam.
Right, I agree. Just it being a bobblehead.
But it
movie was
worked.
dope.
I usually hate shaky cam,
Uh-huh.
but it worked for this. Just like, cause it's space. When space was first being explored, it's like
It does
it
give
makes
you a
it
real
feel
good
more
sense of
vintage.
how
It's
like
space.
they
and
barely
just
made it
Gosling's
in a
face.
sense.
yeah, but it makes it feel more vintage, which I really liked. And it being
Watch
shot
The Right
on
Stuff.
film. I mean, I have before, but The Right Stuff's pretty good. But I liked how there's this whole debate of should you shoot on film or digital. In my opinion, most of the time, it doesn't really matter for this. The film felt like it added a sort of retro
Yeah, I
feel
agree
to
with
it that
that.
I really liked.
Yeah.
I just liked everything about this movie. I liked all the acting, all the sort of special effect work they did. I just think First Man's pretty good. I think it could be bumped out by one of these great movies I'm about to see this week. But right now, it still stands out to me as one of the best of the year for sure.
All right.
The score is fantastic. Have you listened
is.
to the score? The
course.
score is crazy, and I'm pretty sure Takeoff listened to the score because he did his Rocket album, and I kid you not, he uses part of Horowitz's score in there.
That's crazy.
And I think, while I don't like the first 2/3 of the movie, I think it's extremely boring.
Damn, really?
I think it's.
I was
think it's
interested
very
the
boring.
entire time.
And,
I don't know what else
and
to
I've
say.
seen it twice in IMAX. I only saw it again because that ending still lives up to
It's so good.
to everything. You already saw it. You saw it alone, right?
Yeah.
Or was it A Star Is Born that you saw alone?
I think it's both of
Both
them.
of those were Dude, there was no one at my IMAX either when I saw it the second time. It's a literal Wizard of Oz moment. I didn't see it coming, and I've hyped it up that you need to see it in IMAX. One of my
That's
biggest
what I did.
regrets is Dunkirk,
Yeah.
of not seeing it in
I saw
IMAX.
it twice in IMAX. It was incredible.
That's the thing. I never got the chance to see it in IMAX. That's one of the ones where if it ever comes back, I'm snatching up tickets because the screening I saw, I honestly feel ruins the movie. You cannot enjoy this movie to the fullest unless you see it in IMAX for that trick
I
he does
agree.
at the end.
And it's too late now.
And then it's not just that he does that trick. What ties it up in a nice bow isn't the whoo, damn, that's cool. That'll be enough to talk to. It's that he then does that thing which the moment he landed there, I knew I was like, wow, this really has my. He's gonna sneak me. I know what he's sneaking in here, and then he sneaks it in there, which is something that he foreshadowed from the beginning, and it's a good bit.
Yeah.
It's a nice little like. I like the second cry more than the first cry.
Right.
But yeah, I would
Both
say
guys were pretty good.
yeah, this is a top 10 performance by Ryan Gosling, not saying anything and staring out into space.
Better than Drive?
I thought he was better in this than Drive.
I agree.
Yeah.
Art, what's your number 9?
Not better than Drive, but at this point, I have Isle of Dogs. But if I'm being completely
Cool.
honest, I might swap that with If Beale Street Could Talk.
Okay,
That's
cool.
only because I haven't seen If Beale Street Could Talk again, and now
Yeah.
that it's playing here in the city, I actually want to go see it
I'm
again.
super eager to see it a second time as well. I have only seen it
It's
once.
really late now. That's why our eyes are so sunken. Because we saw 2.5 episodes of Atlanta before we recorded this, and I literally need to go back to see it because you keep claiming to me, and maybe I just wasn't as honed into it. Brian Tyree's performance in this movie when he
Yeah.
just comes in for that one bit.
Yeah, there's I think it's a 12-minute scene just in the middle of the movie where Brian Tyree Henry shows up. He's not in it any more than that 12 minutes,
Yeah.
but it flips the movie on its head and it just
Really?
it just injects this different energy. And he's so good in it. I would nominate him for Best Supporting Actor
Yeah.
just for that. So
What I love about the movie is just the story, how like they actually love each other. I know it's like corny and cliche to say.
They actually love each
No,
other.
because you know it's just like, oh,
it's
Yeah.
weird.
This
to
guy
say,
is gonna
like,
get
it's
with
a
that girl.
movie
Here's
that-
just
It's hard to pull off.
no, like you come
It's
in
weird
here
to
and you're
say
like,
that it's a movie that actually
no, they
shows
got their
you what
diapers
love is,
changed
you know?
together. You know what I mean? This isn't
Yeah.
like, oh, how did you guys find each other on the
Yeah.
mattress? This is like, they're inseparable. They're like best friends. It's like I
There's-
think he gets that. He hones on in that like 100%.
On the Directors Guild podcast, they play interviews where filmmakers interview other filmmakers, usually at post Q&A screenings. And Paul Thomas Anderson just interviewed Barry Jenkins about this movie. And in that
wanna listen
interview,
to that.
Paul Thomas Anderson is saying how jealous he is of Barry Jenkins' close-ups because he just has this intimacy.
Oh, and he does it. Like it's
believe
official.
it.
It's the term. Like if we give Spike Lee the dolly shot, Barry Jenkins gets this like small dolly, like straight up on the face. I don't know how he squares it up. He
It's-
does it in this movie, and
There's
it's just
something
like
that's just so intimate about it. You
Yeah.
feel yourself.
the lighting
pulled
of it, all
into
of it.
He's great, just absolutely great at shooting faces. I think, if you just pay attention
Yeah.
to all the little shots in Beale Street, there's so much to like about that movie. That came into my top. That was in my top 20 as well. Did not make my
Oh,
top
really?
10.
Okay.
But again, I haven't seen it again, so
To
I
hype,
want to.
to hype it, I would just say the best scene of this movie to me is the revelation scene to her family.
Beautiful scene.
My girlfriend was in the bathroom for the entirety of the scene. She comes back, everyone is cracking up. Everyone's just like, she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "You just missed probably the best scene of Tiff."
Damn.
And you were in the bathroom the whole time. So I definitely want to see it again for that scene.
Yeah.
Worst part about this movie is that it has to be compared to Moonlight.
Yeah.
That's the worst part
I was
about
about
it.
to ask, because I'm seeing it this week.
That's the worst part about it.
Because Moonlight is
It's
too
not
good.
fair.
It would be recommended so much more
If Moonlight
wasn't the follow-up to Moonlight.
Is it like how La
And
La
that to
Land is
me-
to Whiplash? Like, because everyone thinks Whiplash is better. I feel like.
That's actually that's
a
a
really
great
good
comparison.
comparison.
Yeah. And it isn't until First Man comes out that you realize, oh, La La Land was.
My number 9, I'm expecting it to show up on at least one of your lists, is Hereditary. The horror at a Sundance. Toni Collette starred in it.
Y'all will be able to see one for yourselves. A little girl was there too. You'll be able to see with the little girl there.
Yo, man, Ari Aster was on one for this one. It's one of the most genuinely chilling things I've ever seen. There's a lot of horrific things that happen, but maybe the most horrific thing that I've seen in movies in 2018 is something that's not supernatural, that's not demon-related. It's a moment in Hereditary. And the way that they deal with the emotions that their characters must have been feeling just feels so true to life and is so upsetting.
Yeah.
If this movie weren't a horror, if it was just a drama about dealing with family trauma, there's no way Toni Collette doesn't get an Oscar nomination.
We agree, right?
Oh, yeah, this is.
Best performance of the year. Like, it's not even close to anything else.
Yeah.
I've had this
of
since
both,
January.
Of men and women.
Well, I don't
Jesus
classify between genders. So to me, like, this has been the best performance since I saw it. That scene that you talked about. First of all,
So
you
good.
talk about like it's too close. I think this is abuse. Have you seen his interviews? They keep telling Ari Aster like, what did he do to deserve
Yeah.
this? What he does to, and it's like Alex should be getting some nominations too.
He's really good.
He's
at
the
movie.
one who makes that scene. Then she comes in and kills it.
Sells
Just
it.
adds to
And
it.
then he continues doing something. A later scene that was
I
in the
agree.
trailer where he
Yeah.
smacks his head. But then she comes in and it's like she keeps overshadowing him and everything.
Yeah.
The dinner scene, all that stuff. The bed scene. I hate Lady Gaga.
I hate Lady Gaga.
stealing the Oscar from Tony.
See, if Tony was in a room and there was 100 people in the room, one person saw Tony, she would have gotten it all the way. She is winning some stuff though, so it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what happens.
Chasing number 9.
Wait, do we have to talk about Hereditary if it's on our list?
I mean, if you want to
If
talk
you
about
have it, no. You and I can talk about it later because we have it at the
Alright,
exact
right.
same point.
Okay.
Okay. So my number 9 might actually surprise a lot of people. It was a movie I did not expect to like as much as I did. Bad Times at the El Royale really surprised the shit out of me.
Don't look at me.
You don't like it?
Not number 9.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, how do I say this? Not number 9.
Like I said, could be a movie that gets bumped out this week probably, but I really like Cabin in the Woods a lot. I think
Drew
Cabin in the
Goddard.
Woods, is a really just fun movie, and I think this comes into like the personal bias of when I was a kid, I loved mystery stuff. Like Clue was my favorite board game.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
guess that's
I love that type of stuff, and Bad Times at the El Royale is that just like blown up.
I
to,
haven't
like,
seen it yet, but it feels very retro
Dude,
in a
it
certain
is.
sense.
Imagine like Clue shot like it's a Wes Anderson movie in terms of like the color palette and some of the composition.
Yeah.
And then just like all the twists you would expect from that kind of story.
Cool.
In terms of that sense, it doesn't really do anything new, but the entire style of it, I love how the hotel, like one side is Nevada and one side is a California, I think it is. Just like the little stuff like that just made it feel like it came to life. All the characters were super fun, super interesting. I just had a great time with it. I went in thinking like, all right, this is going to be another movie I see this year. And I had a great time with it.
Just another movie I see this year.
That's how I felt. And then I went in. It's hard to talk about the scenes I like without spoiling things, but there were so many times where a twist happened and I'm like, oh shit, I'm genuinely surprised right now. Like, this movie actually got me. So I highly recommend to people that skipped it this year. I think it's really good. Like I said, we'll probably be bumped out by Roma and The Favorite and these other movies when I see them. But Bad Times at El Royale is probably like the most entertained, I'd say, this entire year. So I think it definitely deserves a spot of mentioning.
Felt it was just a little too long, but I'll add something that I think will make you like the movie more. It was something that someone added to me on my LME video that said what Drew Goddard did to the horror genre. This is a shout out to Kelsey. I don't know if he watches the podcast, but I know he's been on some Let Me Explain videos. What Drew Goddard did to the horror genre at a whole other level of depth and complexity, he did to the Tarantino movie.
That's a good way of
So it's
looking
kind
at
of
it.
interesting of saying that it's like.
Yeah, he did the Hateful Eight better than the Hateful Eight in my opinion.
I think
like this more than
that's
Hateful
the
Eight.
best way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Okay,
there wasn't a Channing Tatum hiding in the floor too.
Yeah.
This movie is essentially a critique of the era, and each character represents that demographic. You ready? Like this is you know how I talk about my Cluck moment,
Yeah.
and we talk about the eye patch and sorry to bother you. Like this, I want to say is third in there. They say the priest is literally a crook stealing money. Priests during that time were all crooks stealing money. The cult leader is shown to be exactly the same type of government he rejects, which is during the times of what's his name that Tarantino's making the movie on, Manson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how he wanted to free people, but he was. Both the government and the anarchists thrive on sex and money. Plus, they play roulette with people's lives. The government agent pours them a coffee, and then they have to pay for it. The government gives you something you don't want, and then taxes you for it. There's metaphors all over the film. And I was like, 56.
All right, what is your number 8?
My number 8, I'll put it up right here, is Mission Impossible Fallout.
Awesome.
Boys. I only believe in true indie cinema, music box theater films. This deserves a recognition.
Yeah.
It is the Mad Max of this year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm all in.
Disagree.
No, I 100%. When the Blu-ray came out, what did they say? They came out with a PSA announcement on how to watch their movie.
Yeah.
Yeah? Xavier Dolan's the only other person doing that. Where are all the other artsy people coming out talking about cinema? These guys are cinematic outdoors. Turn off your television set. He's wearing the Top Gun costume and he's still there. I saw this 3 times in IMAX. I think it lives up to every single scene. The behind the scenes are incredible. Seeing your number 1, you have a specific story about how it was practically a script you've had for the longest time come to life.
Yeah.
When he did the thing on the plane, that's always been the one. There's 2 action scenes I want to film. One involves a roller coaster. One involves actually falling out of the sky and choreographing everything in the sky.
And Tom Cruise did it.
When I saw the behind the scenes footage of the cameraman literally jumping out with the camera on his head, and to know that they did that over 100 times, I think is one of the most incredible sequences ever.
It's a fair point.
So, for that
It's
scene
a movie
alone,
that goes there.
that scene alone, yeah.
But that's the thing. That's only one of the scenes, like the bathroom fight.
That's just one. The bathroom
Incredible.
fight is insane. The whole ending sequence with the cliff, which is do you know they had a screening there?
On the cliff?
At the cliff.
That's so
Oh
funny.
yeah,
They had a hike up, and then they
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
saw the screening there. So
Tom
no.
Cruise learned how to drive a helicopter.
Not just
Out
that.
of
That
helicopter.
one
That's
scene where
crazy.
he's running over the top of the roofs when he jumps over and he cracks
Broke a rib in an ankle.
and he's still. And then the movie
That's
ends
crazy.
with please no, my rib, because
Yeah.
it was still broken.
He should be nominated for an Oscar. If it's not this year, he has to eventually. Like, they have to recognize some sort of stunt work that goes into it. I feel like.
Yeah.
But
So
that's my
just
number 8.
crazy.
I mean, if people can get rewarded for gaining weight for a role, why can't he be rewarded for 8 months of
Killing
helicopter?
himself,
For almost dying
Yeah.
on multiple stunts.
My number 8, I'm almost 100% sure this is going to show up on both of your lists, so I'm not going to say anything about it. I'll let you guys get to it later. It's Widows. Chase, what's your number 8?
Alright, fair. Number 8 is a movie that I know Art's going to talk about heavily eventually. Searching was it was great. You
Did it
wrapped
live up to
up.
the hype that I said in Sundance?
I mean, it's not my number 1 of the year, so maybe
It's
not.
top 5, 10.
But it's great. The opening sequence is probably maybe top scene
Comparable
of the
to
year.
Up.
Yeah.
Google's Up.
It's at least top 2 or 3 scenes of the year or sequences. Absolutely
Yep.
insane. It was a film that, like Bad Times at El Royale, whenever there was a twist, a lot of these movies that like going in there's gonna be twists, like you kind of see them coming in a way. Searching was one of the ones where like I got caught off guard a
Yeah.
lot of the time.
Yeah.
One of the more truly surprising movies this year.
I know as like an Easter egg person, there were many hints. Like in the beginning of that call, I was like, oh shit, like that's like recognizing my brain that comes up later.
Yeah.
The whole,
Oh, when you watch it again, man.
I would not have known there was a secret movie in the background if he didn't tell me ahead of
Shouts
time.
to Sev. Thank you for letting us know.
Of course. But him tell me ahead of time, like, yo, there's a secret movie in here. And, like, me, on my first viewing, like, seeing that, blew me away. It's just, like, it's refreshing to see, because Unfriended kind of ruined this idea in a
And
way.
it's the same people.
Yeah. It's
So it's so
Produced
interesting.
by-
It's so interesting to see a producer who producers, they produce, right?
Yeah.
I want this type of story, and they got an Unfriended, and they got an Unfriended too.
Yeah.
But that within that crop of people who just want a story being told, sometimes you give your money to the right dudes, and they come up with this. Because this could have been just something else.
Yeah.
They literally probably didn't have to do anything other than another Unfriended. And they created
Yeah, no, and they're
Your
genuinely doing some.
8th movie of the year.
8's pretty high, though. And
That is high. Like people forget, it's like there's a bunch of movies. Anything
Yeah.
that makes the top 20 should be really
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
these are all really good, and
Absolutely.
I know it's not really like an award contender this year, but best
Editing easily.
should
Something-
easily be thrown in there.
Yeah, especially as we know from talking to Sev,
Yeah.
all the extra work that the editors.
There's a video
I'm
out there. I
sure.
haven't been able to see it. The only way to find it is Houston Productions, who's I've done some stuff with. Has he been on the show?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm old.
He's done the show.
Houston Productions. He did one
Shouts
on
to
searching
Houston.
recently. Go watch his video. Within there, he has one that's actually timestamped, and I think he has a link for it, of a dude who actually talked with the editors, sat there, and they showed him like the bits and pieces.
Very cool.
I still need to watch that video, but I highly recommend Houston's video either way.
Dude, I couldn't even imagine.
The making of it, like, alone. And then all the story bits.
Yeah. One last thing on searching. I feel like there's a lot of movies that have been getting a lot of hype this year. This is one of the ones that has been very easy to recommend to people.
Right.
Not a lot of
That's
a good
people.
point.
I said that since, I said
Not
that
a lot
since
of people
beginning.
have been like watching this and disliking it. In my experience,
Yeah.
at least. So I feel like it pretty much across the board.
Same.
If you're interested in movies, it's kind of a movie you should look out for. Art number 7.
The Miseducation of Cameron Post.
Cool. The grand prize winner out of Sundance.
That went nowhere other than my list, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it got a little bit dumped this summer, but you and I both liked it quite a
sad.
bit.
To my top 10. Better than Ben is Back.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Ben is Back.
I never saw Ben.
It's just y'all haven't seen Miseducation to Cameron Post.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you. Like, if you like Ben is Back, that's good. I'm not saying it's a bad I'm just saying that's a...
You're
I
talking
think you're
about
thinking
Boy
Boy
Erased.
Erased.
What did I say?
Ben is back.
That's what I'm saying.
Lucas Hedges is trash. So I just mix all his performances together because he does nothing different in every single
Fair,
one of
fair.
them.
Talk about a Golden Globe nominee.
So Waverly Gallery. Zach and I went to go see Lucas Hedges the other day, and
This is true. This isn't his sarcasm.
I am not a
And
big.
you still thought
Lucas-
he was bad.
I had to
Why?
see it for myself.
Lucas Hedges live.
Because I saw it on the screen, I'm like, maybe this. when Tom Cruise told you turn off that thing, maybe they did it at the theater, and that was affecting his performance, so I couldn't have it filtered.
It's like a band. Sometimes you got to see it live to really get it.
Yeah.
But you still didn't get it.
You finally.
No, I was there.
You came to the conclusion.
Grandma, I'm going to the store. No one used the
God.
excuse that the grandma had dementia in the play. No, Lucas Hedges is trash. But the movie he was in, Boy Erased, Ben is back,
Boys
was
right?
good.
It's a cinematic universe.
But it's nowhere close to the miseducation of Cameron Post. And I almost feel bad. I'll say
Agreed.
this because every time that we've talked about it, people always feel, and I made a joke about it and people took it too serious. If you were to say, like, Boy Erased, right? Boy Erased explained in one sentence. Go watch Miseducation of Cameron Post. People then go like, why would you compare the two? And as someone who, when I was like rooting for Coco coming out, they were like, this movie was already made. It was called Day of Life. I was like, no, there's 27 Netflix movies being released every minute for Christmas. 2 movies that are kind of similar, all of a sudden you want to compare them. And that's kind of what's pegging the two together. Like, I keep saying...
But I think there's also just like a clear difference in quality and a difference in how they approach the story where...
That's not even my thing. My thing is that one got so much more attention than the other one
True.
that literally got dumped.
True.
I think the people over at Edgerton's camp had something to do with it.
Yeah.
It was making this movie, this one, and it was getting ready to like blow up, and Edgerton said, not today, Bob.
Everyone's saying Boy Race is bad. I didn't see
No,
it,
I don't
but,
think it's bad.
But The Gift was pretty good, which made me like interested in like
Who?
checking out
The Gift.
The Gift. His last
Joel's
Oh, yeah,
last
no,
movie.
I don't think it's a bad movie. I'm not in that camp
Okay.
of thinking it's a bad movie or a
It's
corny
not as
movie.
good as Miseducation.
It's just not as good as Miseducation. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
Like that's the good movie. This is the prime example of what you want those type of stories to be.
Okay. I mean, Cameron Post is pretty good.
Yeah.
They spoiled the ending in the posters.
In
but
the
it was still
actual
pretty
poster.
good. Yeah.
Literally spoiled the last shot. My number 7 is one that you put in your honorable mentions. It's Tully. I thought this was a really...
Hey, no, I would have.
I want
if
to
you-
check this out.
Okay, no, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if I put it up any higher. I actually have it.
It's that good.
I specifically.
It's Jason Reitman's best movie in a couple years
Yeah.
at least. I think it's a really interesting perspective on like having children and motherhood and just the crushing weight of responsibility that comes with it, as well as the ways in which we develop as people and how we still carry like elements of our younger selves with us. I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff here. Really great performances. My girl Mackenzie Davis, Charlize Theron.
Feel this guy. He really likes it.
I think it's a pretty great movie, and I know some people weren't so happy about the
They were
twist
wrong.
at the
Yeah.
end. I thought it's a really great twist, and it's been done similarly, but never quite like this.
Yeah.
So
I think the third act resolution is super like this is good.
yeah,
Like this is something that should be talked about, not spoiled, but talked about. This is a great turn of events. That said, the whole movie does something because of that.
yeah.
That it would not have the effect. You know when you watch like a movie, none of us are parents here. You watch like a movie and you're like,
That
oh
we know
man,
of.
that's Whoa, hey, take it easy. You watch a movie and you're like, they're telling you how to be a parent. You're like, that sucks, man. He looks tired. This actually makes you like it makes you feel the anxiety of being a mother.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, I can wait till 37.
As IGN would say, it makes you feel like a mom.
Yeah. I like this movie a lot.
Damn, that makes me want to check it out more.
No, you should.
For sure.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
What is your number 7, Chase?
It's a movie I feel like is not on a lot of people's lists. I know I mentioned it one time and Art was like, nah, it's bad, but I disagree. Assassination Nation, I absolutely love.
Yeah, I haven't seen this
I
yet.
went in not knowing a single thing about it. If you don't know what it's about, I'm not gonna spoil what it's about. just go check it out. I swear.
Let me do it for you.
All right.
When I saw it at Sundance, you're gonna love Sundance. Most of your movies are up there.
Really?
The only reason I saw this movie was because it said in the town of Salem, everyone wants to kill each other. This is a 1,000% true story. That was the pitch for it. I said, how did they let this?
1000%.
Right? Yeah. So I'm seeing everything.
Not a typo.
Coming of age story of so and so through the precautions of life and adolescence, so and so.
See, I
This
like
is
that,
1,000% true.
But that fits the style
The
of the
style
film.
of the movie. That's what got me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh dang, this movie's gonna
Yeah.
be crazy.
Yeah.
There is. See, this is a movie I want to talk about bad, but I feel like if you go in knowing nothing, you'll enjoy it so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I think stylistically, it's the coolest movie of the year, besides one I'm going to talk about in a couple. But it was fun. It was funny. It was cinematically impressive. The one shot is incredible.
I was gonna say that one. It's
The
good.
one
It's up there
shot
with
is-
Kareem's Spring Breakers.
Oh, Harmony Korine's.
Yeah, it's up there with that and Bling Rings one.
It's a long one take. It's like 5 minutes.
It's crazy. And it's like
Okay.
action packed.
and you're
Okay.
like, there's no cut. Like, what are you doing? Like, it was.
Bro, they do the Kubrick
insane.
stairs. Like, you're like, how
Dude,
did they
it
even?
was like Kubrick-esque,
Yeah.
right? But it was gory. It didn't hold back from anything. There's just a lot of imagery that's still burned in my mind from it that I really like. And it's a movie I feel like I would want to watch like once a year. It feels like one of those that's like really fun. I just feel like if more people watched it, it would just be on a lot more people's lists. So I recommend it. I think Assassination Nation is dope. There's a lot I could talk about, but I think if you go in like I did, not knowing a single thing about it, you're gonna enjoy it a lot more. So
You
it's my
should start a
number 7.
YouTube channel
Yeah, I really
where
should.
you can talk about movies
Just Assassination
Maybe call it a
Nation.
Phoenix Reviews.
and be able to explain your thoughts. You know, that'd be
I
a really
should,
cool
yeah.
place to.
And then maybe actually make videos for it. So we'll see.
Arturo, what's your number 6?
Widows.
Okay, cool.
I'll save it till we get to his spot.
Sounds good.
Damn.
My number 6 is First Reformed. I saw this a
Okay.
little bit late. I was really into it. I think it's a really interesting movie. It's a pretty quiet movie. You know, it's very contemplative. This is one of those movies where there's scenes where people sit down and have like a 10-minute conversation that doesn't cut away, and you just have to kind of get captured by this conversation or you're not going to be with it. But the ways that it is sort of dealing with like existential thoughts and the relationship between God and earth and the idea of morality when it comes to bringing children into the world. I think there's a lot of really cool, big questions that actually get addressed in this movie. I think it has a very interesting progression and ending. I think Ethan Hawke is really, really good in the lead role here. And I just love how personal it feels, you know. It really feels like this is Paul Schrader's anxieties being written into a script. It really feels like somebody talking to you in a way. So I really enjoyed First Reformed.
Fair. I saw it back when it was in theaters. I really liked it when I first saw it, and I kind of like it less the more. No, not
Why?
like. I don't think it's bad. I still think it's good. But
Are you Jewish?
No,
I've noticed a
I'm something. I'm something that I'm still figuring out.
No, for real. I've noticed that
Jews like it more?
it's on everyone's
Really?
top 10. Every Jewish critic that I know, it's on their top 10. It's
Really?
not number 1.
Is David Ehrlich Jewish?
I think so.
Is
His
he?
last name's Ehrlich. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm
Do you
bad
need
at
a
this.
you
Anyway,
need a chutzpah in there?
like I still think it's pretty good. It's weird. I like the weird shit more than I like the non-weird shit in the movie.
In the movie,
if that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. But that's one of those things that it does a really interesting job of balancing stuff that's very, very real and stuff that's far out and bizarre.
Right. It's a movie I still think is good. I'm
It's
really
better to
curious to,
talk
see what I would think after I watch it a second time now, if that makes sense. I think there's a lot of movies like that, but
It doesn't, but yeah.
this fits in that category for me.
You just
What
deleted
do
your
you
whole.
think?
You deleted your whole list.
I almost
No,
did. This is low key.
what I've been saying with it, it's one of those movies that's like, okay, that was a cool experience. I think talking about it is cooler than rewatching the movie. It's a weird opinion I have, but there's a bunch of movies where I would rather I can talk about it for 3 times the runtime of the film.
And I don't know if
That's
that
this
makes
movie.
it better or worse, but
no,
it,
this whole list is pointless. Y'all know that.
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
I feel
No
you know,
one actually cares about the list.
a lot of people
Let's go
do
for
it in
now.
the beginning. No one cares about a list. If you care
Yeah.
about a list, it's dumb. If you disagree with us, who cares?
It's just for
love the movies you like. Yeah.
Comment below.
For me, First Reformed. That one scene where he's talking to them about like, y'all care about the Bible, right? He's like, yes, we love his. But in the Bible, it said God made those, and you're all tearing them down. Like it's a good conversation piece.
Yeah.
And it's like there's great scenes in the movie, and I definitely think I can't think of another actor who has it more than Ethan Hawke this year.
Yeah.
Like I really don't.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite male lead performance.
I want to say so.
Yeah.
Can you think of someone?
My mid-90s crew.
Oh,
All
okay.
of them. That
We'll get
to later.
there. We'll get there.
Chase, what is your number 6?
No, it's a movie you're both high on. 8th Grade.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham's
Oh,
directional
okay,
debut. I've been saying it since I saw the YouTubers movie in a way, because so many people can relate to it. We actually had a conversation about this too.
We're working on a video for
Yeah,
it.
but I think it just I went in thinking it was going to be another A24 coming of age movie.
Yep.
And I got an A24 coming of age horror movie that I really appreciated. I think the way, because Bo Burnham's notorious for his comedy skits of like always talking about anxiety and making jokes out of it. And he portrayed anxiety in the most perfect way, like not too in your face, not too subtle, kind of like this middle ground where it really worked super well. The main girl, Elsie Fisher, incredible. I'm really happy she's getting some award recognition. If Toni
Golden
Collette
Globe
isn't getting
nomination.
it, I'm really happy she is.
Yeah.
I think she's going to do some really good things.
Yeah, going back to that
years.
point you had about anxiety, Bo Burnham has been saying this thing again and again in interviews that I find really on point, that being shy is often not the unwillingness to speak, but the lack of knowing what to say.
Yeah.
And that's really well
And
depicted
that
in
just
8th grade.
completely sums up the entire movie.
Hey guys.
Just like when it's dramatic, it works. When it's comedic, it works.
Yeah.
Like the whole chicken nugget thing is hilarious. The whole pool
Oh,
scene.
no,
the
chicken
pool
nugget
scene,
is
you
amazing.
feel the anxiety to a 10th. There's just a lot of things. I know when I was in 8th grade, I would hear this song that my teacher would play to her desk.
Yeah, that's what he was tweaking when he saw the trailer. To it.
And it, to me, like, that type of shit just speaks to me. I'm like, damn, like, this feels like a movie that was made for me. And it's always good to see those movies. And then, like, the political stuff, like the school shooting scene
I
is
think
incredible.
the best school shooting commentary in
Ever.
media. In media.
Ever. And that's followed up with the kid talking shit under his desk.
See,
like a normal
the
eighth
thing
grader.
is that catches me off guard every single time. Boom, you're dead. Boom, you're dead. It catches me off guard every single time. And I was like, the hell was this in this movie?
Yeah.
And I guess why it keeps catching me off guard is because I'm surprised there aren't a ridiculous amount of think pieces about that specific scene.
Yeah.
There's a bunch about the car scene.
Yeah.
The car scene that happens with her
Later
and
in the
kid.
movie.
I haven't
Yeah.
rewatched the movie yet. That's the only scene I would take out. I still don't.
Really?
I feel like
Rewatch it.
I feel like
Rewatch it.
That's fair.
We had an interesting conversation about this.
Because I feel like it's a movie that's going for a lot of relatability, and that thing does happen a lot. But I feel like it almost limits like the relatability.
It makes it a smaller.
Which might not be a
circle.
bad thing for people, but for me, when I was watching, I was like, I'm relating to everything. I get to that part. I'm like, it takes me out for a bit. But that's a personal thing. It's a personal thing.
I think that adds to
'Cause
the
I'm
ending
hiding.
scene with the chicken nuggets. I think without that scene, you don't see the definition of a true man with the chicken nugget kid.
Fair.
That's my opinion about it.
Art, you're number 5.
Well, Zach, my number 5. After taking 2.5 hours to think about it, as we clearly didn't go anywhere, I would say it has to be Sorry to Bother You. I took enough time to think about it.
Yeah.
Took a little break. It's on Hulu, so literally
Yeah.
anyone can watch Sorry to Bother You. You saw it, right?
I did.
You couldn't even
That's all right.
What?
We talked about this before. I thought
When?
Sorry to Bother You was like first half great, second half I wasn't into it.
It gets really insane as
Yeah.
it goes along.
I don't think
but
it's bad in the second half. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
So,
Have I explained it to you?
Yeah.
The love tie?
Yeah. And I was like, all right.
But then I realized
you put this at number 3 on your list. I ended up putting this. Oh, sorry, you put this at 5.
Five,
I
yeah.
put it at number 3 on my list.
when did it get up? You put it at 3?
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, it would be higher. It might actually swap out with the other one. I just, I can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought this was just one of the most endlessly creative movies
It's
of the
super
year.
creative. The
not
way that
just
it's
in,
shot.
not just in terms of the screenplay. Yeah, like the way it's shot, the way that he literally drops into these rooms making these telemarketing calls, the use of the white voice in the voiceover. Like it's very, very creative. Has a lot to say.
Yeah, and how it plays to especially that whole little beef that he had with what's his
Spike
name,
Lee.
where he practically called him Cassius
Boots
Green.
Riley,
He
yeah.
said you don't realize that you are actually a plant or whatever else, and which is a part of the story, which is which I think is one of the coolest aspects, scariest aspects. He wanted to create his own riots before the riots happened. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to infiltrate and create an MLK on his side. That's weird.
Yeah. Oddly enough, my number 5 is Black Klansman.
Oh, okay.
This is, like I said, the movies that are between like 5 and 15 for me are all kind of interchangeable. And ultimately, I just decided to go with Black Klansman because I had such a vivid reaction to the ending of that movie. I think anybody who's seen that movie knows that Spike Lee does a really interesting job of tying an older story into modern times and showing parallels in terms of
crazy,
American society.
too
and
similar.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like it really strikes home. And I had mentioned on the podcast that I was in Charlottesville, like for the counter protesting thing. Yeah. So it's like it's a movie that kind of hit home I saw it a year after I was in Charlottesville.
Yeah, 'cause that's exactly when it came out.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it's just one of the most alive feeling Spike Lee movies in quite some time. There's definitely a dip in quality in the middle of that movie, but I think there's so much interesting stuff being dealt with. It's one of the movies I thought about most this year.
What do you think of the criticisms?
It's Boots Riley's criticizes.
Boots Riley's criticisms.
Well, first of all, I put Boots' movie on top of this one, so Boots shouldn't complain to me. I think Boots makes a lot of really interesting points, and I think
about it being fake.
I think I don't disagree with anything Boots Riley said to disparage Black Klansmen, but I think his argument is one that's about the grand scheme of media and policing and the way that things in a large, taking the entirety of media and what that does versus just taking this one movie. I don't think there's anything wrong with Spike's movie. I think Spike's movie is part of a wider
Which
wrong
is what he was
trend.
saying. He says you're being used and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You tell somebody else that. Oh, you thought your movie was deep? You're being used.
You like Black Klansman, right?
I do like Black Klansman. I don't know why. Did I not log it in? I don't even know where I put it.
It's not even.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I know I had a 29.
So yeah, that's pretty high.
I had a pretty high. I really like that movie.
You're more even.
It's like
He's more on performance.
I don't know. I like the story a lot. I like the acting a lot.
You don't like who wins?
No, I just felt like I think Spike Lee's really hit or miss. Like, Do the Right Thing to me is one of the best movies of all time. Like, it's peak Spike Lee, and then this to me felt like a Spike Lee wannabe directing sometimes. I don't know. It just like it didn't work for me, but I don't think it's like bad. You know what I mean? It's just one of those movies for me.
I definitely don't think it's like the best he's done or anything like that, but it's certainly one of the most interesting stories that he's touched in quite some time. And I like I said, it just really resonated with me. I don't know how much of that is personal, how much of it is really the movie's credit, but yeah, exactly. So I have it at number 5.
Fair.
How about you? Number 5?
5. Suspiria is a film I've talked about on this podcast before.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet?
No.
You gotta see it.
I know.
So you just have like a side to choose from.
I can't settle this debate.
Even since I came on last time, I love it way more the more I think about it. It's a great time. I had a great time anyway. It was long, but didn't feel long. It kind of felt long, but it felt like interesting every single second. All the acting was great. I didn't mention this last time. I didn't mention this last time I was on. I knew I almost said Taylor Swift. Tilda Swinton. I knew Tilda Swinton.
She hit in there, didn't she?
I knew
you were in trouble when you came in.
I knew Tilda Swinton going in played an old man.
Yeah.
And the entire time I'm waiting, who's this old man character she's going to
You're
play?
an idiot. How could you not tell?
I'm an idiot. She was so convincing as that old man. It's unreal. My sister was
It's Tilda.
My sister was like, oh no, it was the old man that was in like 45% of this movie. And I lost my fucking mind. I was like, there's no...
You thought that sounded like an old man.
I thought that was a real actor. I was like, where have I seen this guy in other movies before? I thought
you saw him in the Six Flags commercials where you saw him.
Maybe that's it, because he looks like... She killed it. She killed it.
No.
I will try to settle this debate at some point.
Yeah,
But,
you'll have
okay,
to- but visually,
no.
visually...
Her voice. You tell me you heard that voice and you
her
said, oh,
voice
that's
sounded
man.
like an old man.
No, it didn't. It sounded like Channing Tatum saying, my name's Jeff.
Okay. I fell for it. I had no clue the entire time. I think she should be nominated for Best Actor personally because it was incredible. The visual effects are visual effects are stunning. Everything. I watched the behind the scenes about the dance scene.
Yeah.
Of all that.
Where he supposedly tortured her.
Yeah.
Saying it's all physical.
And it was totally
It's
worth
no CGI,
it because
yeah.
it's incredible to look at.
It is.
We talked a little bit earlier in this video about top moments of the year.
Yeah.
I know Suspiria is nowhere near top movies of the year,
No,
but
the
is
moment's
that
so great? Yeah, 100%. That moment's crazy.
Yeah.
All 5 extra minutes of it, too.
Great after credits scene, for sure. I loved everything about this movie.
You know he wants to make a sequel.
I know, and I can't wait. I want 4 more. I want Suspiria 4. And I'll be there for sure. Everyone loves Call Me by Your Name. I like to Call Me by Your Name. love Suspiria right now. Yeah, it's my number 5.
That's a no from me.
Yeah.
And I should also mention all top 5 of these movies are in some of my favorite movies of all time now. That I'm slowly
Wait,
building a
Suspiria is in your favorite movies of all time?
list. Yeah, it's building there. Dude, I've never had an experience like that in a theater. Where I was
Pain?
so like... Where it was so wild and enjoyable. I'm telling you.
Art, what's your number 4 of
Sad.
2018?
Speaking of pain, would you be my neighbor?
I can't think of 2 more polar opposite movies
See, that's
than
why I don't like
Suspiria and Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Because if he was still around, he wouldn't like me watching stuff like Suspiria.
What would you be... Not, Suspiria would be Mr. Rogers' favorite movie of all time.
No, it's not.
For sure.
I get so mad. And when I tie my shoes...
You would play clips for the kids.
No, this movie was fantastic. Documentary. I don't know if it's my own bias. Like, I always talk about how, like, senior year of high school, my buddy and I would like, literally buy cardigans and just wear them. Have the Mr. Rogers lifestyle.
That's how
there's-
you relate?
No, I mean, like, he's always, like, been a part of, like, I guess, my discussion with my friends. Sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's like, I guess, like, Sesame Street. I don't have any connection to Sesame Street, but to some people, it's like, of course, Sesame Street. Like, that was a go-to thing.
Yeah, it's just part of your, like, internal...
Exactly, yeah. So, like, for me, it was like, oh, yeah, Mr. Rogers was always, like, something that was on, and it was like static noise, in
Yeah.
a sense. And the 2 parts in the documentary would have been this. One, when you realize that all of the good things Mr. Rogers did, literally go to court and fight for, like, kids' film rights, TV rights, and still people told him to go burn in hell. I think is like the biggest lesson. People think is like, who can I inspire to be that like is super motivated? No, forget that. Look at the people who get completely and utterly trashed and continue to still do what they do.
It's true.
And then you're gonna wimp out when like, oh, your YouTube channel doesn't blow up, or you got a bad comment, or this and do else. Like this dude was almost a saint, practically a saint, and he got about a bunch of crap for it. Second one was when the 9/11 thing happens.
Crazy.
There's only one thing scarier than like actual
terrorist
horror.
attack.
Well, I was gonna say terrorist attack, but it's seeing the person where you're like, oh, that guy's got it, and then they don't got it.
Yeah.
Like the scene where he literally questions what the point of Mr. Rogers has been if stuff like this still happens, and they tell him, no, but you need to speak.
Yeah,
to
we need
people.
you now.
Like your voice, I don't think you understand how important it is. And like that moment behind the scenes where he just goes, but what's the point? It's like, ooh, don't do that, because now I'm ripping reality from like.
Yeah, I caught up with that recently. It's a really, really strong documentary. I actually kind of love the note that it ends on, that kind of leaves Mr. Rogers for a second, where he kind of...
When everyone thinks...
When you're talking
Damn
about...
it, I completely forgot. Okay, that solidifies it definitely in my top 5. And everyone thinks about that one person.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, like, it
Damn.
takes the movie... It makes the movie a little bit bigger than the documentary for a second.
Who's your Mr. Rogers?
Mm-hmm. And I that was a moment that really kind of hit me more than I was expecting at the end of a really good movie. So definitely highly recommend Won't You Be My Neighbor.
That's great.
My number 4 is The Favorite. I am really, really into this latest Yorgos Lanthimos movie. It's the way that it's a subversion of the period piece and how it just finds this way to both be proper and silly. I think the performances in it are really great. I love Olivia Colman in it. He just has a way of getting to this really mannered style of humor that really works on me. And to get me to buy in this much to a period piece, it must be doing something special. So I was really a big fan of this one. It's not my favorite from Yorgos Lanthimos, but I really enjoyed it.
I was about to say, I can't wait to see this. I love Yorgos' art stuff. This might be a bias. I hate 2 things. I hate Westerns, and I hate period pieces in this time period.
Yeah.
So everyone's saying Relax is a different type of period piece, so I'm still, like, cautiously optimistic. I think I'm going to end up liking it just because love the lobster, love Killing of a Sacred Deer. Yeah, why are you looking at me like that?
You don't like Westerns?
No, Westerns are boring. They're so boring. They are, like, what Spielberg said about, like, Western or superhero movies being the new Western.
How old were you when your dad left?
22. 22? Is it happening soon? I don't know. But, yeah, Westerns are just boring. I don't know. I like Westworld because it's a spin on it. Everyone's like, yo, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, top 5 all time. I disagree.
More like The Bad and the Ugly.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that.
What's wrong with you all? I don't care if we're recording at 3:25 in the morning right now. You guys are losing it. Westerns are not bad. I hope you hate the favorite.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they're boring.
Then why are you excited for Buster Scruggs then?
I'm not. I'm intrigued because of the Coen brothers. I'm going to watch it.
You really don't like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
It's fine. I watched it. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, though.
Before we get too derailed, Art, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a movie that may not even be as good as I think it is. Mid-90s, depending on who you ask. Might get lower. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right, I think we'll get back to that in a bit. My number 3 was Sorry to Bother You, which we talked about at your number 5. Chase?
True. I had to my number 4 first, actually.
Oh, did we skip you?
I think.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, for good reason, too.
Got too sidetracked with the Western thing. It's too many people here.
We got sidetracked. Anyways, 3:10 to Yuma. I recently saw it this year.
My number 4 is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But my number 4 is Widows, which I went in.
Okay.
Cool.
Optimistic in a way. I've really never been a huge Steve McQueen fan, honestly. I've seen Hunger and 12 Years a Slave. I thought they were both like
12 Years to Save a Western to you?
I thought they were both alright. I've said this before. It's just like Hunger I kind of got bored with the entire time. 12 Years a Slave, like, I thought it worked for what it was, but it just had like this feeling of like, it's just not working. Like, if you're putting it in the same place as Schindler's List, to me, it was never reaching that level for me. So I see the trailer for Widows, and it just looks like another...
The trailer is trash.
Yeah, another...
Widow's trailer is trash.
Another Taken-esque movie, and I was like, alright, I guess this is a movie made by a pretty talented director, considered by most
And a
people.
writer.
And a writer, that's true. And this movie kind of blew me away in many aspects. It's so much deeper than a heist movie. And it's another one where you can't really talk about a lot without spoiling things, but there's so many little things in this movie. There's little details where you look at it, and the way he talks about race in this movie especially, he does it so perfectly subtly. Because I think a problem with a lot of movies is it's so in your face that's like, yes, we understand, like, we get it, it's a problem. The way he implements it in this movie is incredible. And I can't spoil it, I don't think.
What is it?
There's a scene, it's literally spoiling like the last 5 minutes, so I don't know if I
What?
should say it. So, am I allowed to say it?
I'll cut around it or
Skip like
something.
30 seconds. So, when, what's the old guy's name? Colin Farrell's dad.
Colin Farrell's dad.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah, he dies, right? And on the radio they say like, oh, because of the death of this father, like, Colin Farrell won the poll because they feel bad for him. Where the dude running against him lost his brother the same night, and nothing is said about it. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Stuff like that. The thing when Viola Davis is arguing with Liam Neeson in bed, like, oh, our son would be alive if I didn't marry you. And then you cut to 30 minutes later, and the whole cop thing happens. Like, that type of stuff comes back, and you're like, shit, he's implementing this stuff early on. The car scene, the one shot with Colin Farrell.
Yep.
We've talked about that
I know
before.
because that happens all the time. I go down this street in Chicago.
Where he's talking about it, and then it cuts to a black guy driving. It's crazy. It's so subtle.
Yeah.
It's little things like, oh, you think it needs to be in your face. No, it's all around you the entire time. You're just not paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you get a director like Stephen McQueen the opportunity to take on like a genre picture like that, he's just going to have all this other stuff. He filled that movie with really interesting text and subtext. It's in every frame, you know, just the way that Viola Davis walks tells you about how she... Text tells you about how she lives and how she's grown comfortable, and it is not necessarily like down to get like into the gritty crime world. That's not her life.
The acting is so good. Yeah. It's getting. We didn't talk about SAG at all. It's being snubbed obnoxiously by everybody.
Not just SAG, Golden Globes.
Is it David or Daniel Kaluuya? Which one?
Daniel
Kaluuya kills it in this movie.
He was scary as hell in this movie.
Both scenes. The first scene where they take the two guys out of the dumpster and then like the camera's going around them. Awesome. The bowling alley scene, top 3 of the year for me personally.
Over the rap scene?
The rap scene.
The rap scene where he goes to the basketball court.
I like both of them a lot. I like the bowling scene more though.
Okay.
Dude, taking a guy that's like kind of paralyzed and like stabbing him like that's pretty brutal. That's brutal. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Great movie.
Great movie.
So that was your number 4. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is a movie I also talked about on this podcast before. Annihilation.
Yeah.
Was a film that
That's
blew.
the film we first brought you on for.
Blew.
I had that as 11.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just missed
Just
out.
because of Bad the Ugly, you bring it back.
No,
Was it actually 11?
Annihilation.
Oh, it is actually 11. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you were messing with me. All right.
Sheesh.
This movie blew me away. I felt like I had an existential journey. When I
One
was
of the
watching
best
it the first
sequences
time.
of the year.
It's
That ending.
Yeah.
It's very intriguing. The entire first 2 hours and the last 20 minutes just becomes a different beast that I absolutely loved. A lot of movies like this I would call pretentious. I would think there's no meaning. It's pointless. I had a true experience how people talk about 2001 and they had an experience with it the first time they watched it. Really felt like that with Annihilation. I thought the score was the best of the year. Yeah, that was great. The whole last act is phenomenal. Everything before that, I was still into I think the whole mystery thing still delivers.
Tattoo
for what
going
it is.
from one body to the other body.
Tattoo stuff. We talked
If you're an
about this
intellectual, only if you're an
an
intellectual.
anti-intellectual, I don't
Yeah,
know.
then you don't probably miss it.
Art, did you understand it?
No, I was only there for the
No
aliens.
clue. No, only there.
I had Annihilation at 14 on my list.
I-
I'm also on the train.
Intellectual.
I think overall everyone really liked it, but I loved it. It's
Yeah.
possibly my favorite sci-fi movie of the decade. I love Interstellar a lot personally too, so it could be that. But yeah, loved it. That was great.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Being Natalie Portman's best friend that I ran into her.
Yeah, you gotta support her.
I mean, yeah.
Did you say yours number 3?
Mid-90s.
Okay, so then what's
Yeah.
your number 2?
You did your number 3 already?
Mhm.
So we're at top 2.
Yeah. It's getting real.
Hereditary.
With the same one.
We're the same one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Did you not? You didn't talk about it.
What?
Talk about Hereditary.
No, I want to hear yours because we both have Hereditary.
I have Minding the Gap.
Okay. I just watched it the other day.
Yeah.
Which one do we want to talk about first?
You talk about Hereditary.
Okay. It's good. What do you think about
It's good.
I said this the last podcast. I remember coming out of Hereditary. It was the second movie that I saw this past year at Sundance.
Damn, it was that early in the
It was that early. It was the first day.
Set
First
the
night,
bar high.
first night we got there, I said, I'm watching this movie, A24, Ari Aster. He made a jacked up movie called The Keeping Up with the Johnsons.
I've
I
heard.
think
I
so.
still haven't watched it yet.
You have no idea what it's about?
I just know he made it. That's all I know.
You have no
about it.
idea what it's about.
No. I can't wait to watch it.
You know what it's about?
Is it a short or is it a feature? It's a short, right?
No, you're like you don't know anything about the movie.
Should we watch it
I didn't even
tonight?
know the title.
No, you have no idea. The first minute, you're probably gonna puke.
Can we watch this tonight?
Yes, 100%. Okay,
Wow.
I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Go
Cool.
watch it. I was under the assumption everyone knew he made the short film. He did it for South by
No.
Southwest years ago.
Everyone just said this is his first movie.
3
I was
years
like,
after, the short film blew up online and everyone was talking about it. So then when I saw it, I was like, yo, he made that really jacked up short film. It's messed up. It's not scary. It's horrendous. So then I see this one, I was like, I gotta go see it. The cast looked pretty good. The poster really won me over of the way that the house was there.
Yeah.
I walk in there, I see this little girl. I was like, oh, little girl. When I come out, I realize it's the actress. And I didn't want to see her at all.
Yeah.
Because she just freaked me out.
She's
And I
creepy
came out of
looking.
this, people were crying. And I personally said, this is probably one of the best horror films I've seen in the decade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to say that all the time. When I said Creed was one of the best boxing movies of the decade, I meant it. And I wasn't changing it when I saw Creed 2, because it was a disappointment. When I saw this movie a year ago, I said it lived up to the hype. I spent every single video hyping it up to the point that people said, you're so full of it, you're overhyping it. Now, when I say that's what I was saying. Now that I say it's in my top 5, people are like, well, yeah, that's the obvious choice. Why don't you look at something else? But I was at the second screening of this thing. I don't care about being the first to see it. It's just that I know for 100% I'm not swayed by any bias of the movie having its thing. I knew from the first time I saw it, I was like, this thing is crazy. It's demonic. It's possessive. And the beauty of it, we were saying earlier,
Yeah.
if it was a drama,
She would easily be an Oscar favorite because she's
it
so
is. Literally, you can just say that
Yeah,
the whole thing
just
with
not
bipolarness.
Yeah,
It was
the way she
schizophrenia.
just deals with loss, the way she tries to explain herself to her family, the way she holds onto that anger and lets it bubble through.
Just the story of it, though. That idea, you know how the movie starts off and it goes into
Into the house.
And
Which is one of my
everything's happening in
favorite shots of the year. It's so cool.
there. And then everything else and the way the whole story is kind of lit
Yeah.
almost feels like you're in a part of the miniature thing.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about the clocking?
What about the cloaking? What about it?
What it signifies?
No.
What does Paimon ride?
What?
What does Paimon ride?
I have no idea.
When they show you his picture, it's a camel.
Is that what a camel sounds
They clack.
Like hooves.
It was the hooves clacking.
like? What?
If that theory is
This
correct,
might be my number one.
that is the
This kid
scariest thing to know that was just supposed to be like, ooh, that's creepy because the
What?
girl's saying it out of nowhere. When you actually, like, you know how, like, some noises are scary? You're like, wow, that's just scary.
But when you
Don't add meaning to it, though. Once you add meaning to it, you're like,
It's
all right,
so much
you were
creepier.
demented. You were telling
Yeah.
me, like, that was literally the demon's flex.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
That isn't just a scary noise. That's the demon saying, I'm coming. I'm getting close.
Yeah.
Damn.
For me, these two Sundance picks that I have at 1 and 2 have always been interchangeable.
Chase,
Yeah.
Hereditary?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Witch, other A24 horror
The
movie.
Witch.
And in a way, this is definitely like its sibling in a way. They're both, like we kind of mentioned, it feels more like a drama with horror elements on top of it. And I don't know, it's just like, I'm a big horror fan, but I hate 90% of the horror movies that come out, if that makes any sort of sense. Like
Every horror fan
yeah,
knows that.
Like when you give me a good, no, there's a lot of horror movie fans that like a bunch of random shit. I feel
Yeah,
like.
well,
I think most of us know what you
different
mean.
horror fans, but yeah.
Exactly. But when you give me that good one, I feel like I have one horror movie on my list every year because it's the good one. Hereditary is definitely that movie this year. It is everything I want a horror movie to be. It's easily like up there
It's
with The
better than a
Shining
horror
for me.
movie.
I would put it.
I'm
It's-
agreeing with you
It's
100%.
probably top 3 or 4 horror movies for me.
You think it's better than The Shining?
It might be after a couple more watches. I don't know. Here's the thing, right? I have this crippling fear of creepy old people. I really do. I don't know why. The last 15 minutes of Paranormal Activity 3 scarred me. It was terrifying. All right? When the grandmother is a weird, like the opacity gets turned down to 25% on the frame, and you barely see her.
Yo, there was some shots in this
I
movie. The shots where people
lost
just
blood.
where they pick up on it and they go,
It happened so many times.
whoa.
Yeah. When me and my sister saw it the second time, we knew like Toni Collette was like in the corner, and we're sitting there like for probably 7 seconds looking at it, and all you hear is from the back,
When you
like,
hear
7 seconds
people
later.
realizing it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so different.
That's one of my favorite things about Hereditary is I think a lot, it's almost like the opposite of a jump scare. It's like a linger scare, you know what I mean?
Which is so much scarier.
I've
Yeah.
been saying those are the scariest. I've been saying this since Insidious. When the boy is just hanging there and I'm just like, no, but like not calling attention to it pisses me off even more. Just scare me. Like,
Yeah.
because that's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Minding the Gap.
Yeah, so I talked about this a lot on the show. It's my favorite documentary of the year. It's a really stunning piece from Bing Liu that documents him and
So
two
high,
skater
number
friends.
2.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty incredible documentary. It touches on a lot of things. There's, elements of classism and the legacy of violence in the home as well as racism and how these kids deal with the transition from childhood to adulthood when they don't have the support around them. It takes place in this, part of the country that's largely been forgotten and jobs have moved away from there. It's so much text to this movie that doesn't really get addressed, but it's there and you can't help but notice it and learn from it. And just the way that he's able to turn the camera around on himself in a way that doesn't feel narcissistic or indulgent. It feels completely appropriate and completely within the themes of the film. I found it completely emotional. I was a wreck. We talked about crying at the movies. I was crying the entire last third of this movie.
Where did you see it? Did you see it
At home. At home. I saw it at home on Hulu on a.
I gotta catch it again. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it just really worked for me. I thought there was a lot of really beautiful storytelling touches. And Chase, you mentioned this earlier, but the cinematography.
It's crazy.
It's one of the most beautiful documentaries I've ever seen, just in terms of how it's shot. There's a shot where he kind of there's, I think, like a fireworks fight in the backyard, and he pulls back, and the one kid is kind of like hiding behind a tree, and you see the fireworks. It's like, if it was in a fictional shot, it'd be on those like
Yeah.
Chris Tapley 10 best shots
One
of the year
perfect
list.
shot.
Yeah. So I was just blown away by Minding the Gap. It's my favorite documentary of the year, my number 2 movie of the year.
The scene with the mom is crazy.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like, it's almost hard to believe.
The director's mom?
Yeah. It's almost hard to believe this is in a documentary, you know?
See, that's the thing with it. It's like one of those things where it's like, should you be making this movie?
Yeah.
Like, you're putting all of it out there.
He grew the balls to do it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like indulgent, you know? It feels kind of...
No, I'm not talking about indulgence or anything.
Yeah.
It's just, but you're still putting it all out there.
Yeah.
It's you make
It must be a scary feeling.
That's, how's that not terrifying?
Yeah.
I'm sure you felt sick doing it, but
Yeah.
it makes a better movie.
Yeah.
And it made it number 2.
We know what your number 1 is.
Everyone knows
True.
what my number 1 is. I think...
Yeah. So
I mean,
you
I
might
know what
as well
you're...
just say it. I don't know what Zach's number... Oh, yeah. I definitely know what
You
Zach's
do.
number 1 is, yeah.
Incredibles 2. The reason that Jack
The Predator.
was able to...
It's fantastic.
Bow.
I almost thought Vox Lux was going to take this crown. Those first 2 actually.
It was
so
sneaking
good.
up.
It was sneaking up there. I was in awe when I was watching Vox Lux. And I said,
Shouts to Brady Corbett.
How am I going to explain this?
Then they faked you out.
And then it turned into Justin Bieber's Never Say Never.
I'm so intrigued by this movie now, though.
Oh.
Yeah, you've done nothing to dissuade me
Yeah,
from wanting
exactly.
to see it.
I know, but
I went from
go
not
support her.
going
She's
to
my
watch it all.
friend. Go support Nat. Go support Nat. Searching. I have seen this movie probably 8 times.
That seems low.
It seems low. It's probably more. So that's the thing. I have not included like me scrubbing through all the footage and everything of it. I completely, utterly adore everything within the movie, the filmmaking of the movie, the outside of it, the filmmakers, all of it. I have nothing more to say because everyone's already heard me everything I need to say. I'll just say that rewatching it again, I picked up on some other pieces. Anyone, like we said earlier, it's the easiest movie to recommend.
Yeah.
It really
And
is.
there's no way no one enjoys it. Before I came over here to the New York trip, I saw it with my family who they hadn't seen it yet. They were skeptical the whole time, but they were so invested. The big reveal scene with the photo took my brother. It was one of those things where you see people figure it out. They go,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
And he starts like throwing. She's a model. He was, like when someone knows something is up, but they don't know what it is, so they just start saying things because they can feel that everyone else in the room's
She
got
has
it.
hair.
She's. I knew it. She was a redhead. I was like, "You're not getting it, dude." He's like, "No, something's happening. Something's happening." He loved it.
Yeah.
So for it to blow my brother away, who his specific thing is like he just wants the movie to be enjoyable and stick the landing.
Yeah.
He was like, "All right, this is too good for it to stick the landing." So he thought it was gonna end like a cliffhanger when the internet mutes.
Right.
And he's like, of course, because and the first thing he said, I didn't even get to say my joke of like, and what'd you think? He just went, of course I would. You like stupid movies like this, of course. And then it comes back and it gives him the whole wrap up, which I would agree the worst part of the movie, the weakest part, is the heavy exposition at the end with the music score. But if I could have gone back and hosted a screening of Searching, I would have.
Yeah.
Sick.
I mean,
So
you got a bunch of
number
people to see it from your recommendations.
It's the number one reason why I say go to Sundance. Boom. That's me.
Movie.
My number 1 showed up on your list. It's 8th Grade. I was blown away by Bo Burnham's movie.
Sundance.
Yeah, another Sundance specialty. So we'll see. Maybe we'll all see our number 1 movie at Sundance this year. But yeah, it's just such a really beautifully articulated movie. I think I've said this before on the podcast, but the way in which she's never really speaking for herself or talking in her own authentic voice until the very end. She's always kind of catering her personality and her speech to the people around her. I think is very true to life and very keenly observed. There's the stuff with the YouTube. There's the stuff with just 8th grade awkwardness, her shyness. I'm blown away by this movie. Every time that I see that scene with the dad in the fireplace,
That is a really good scene.
that's another one that makes it a little dusty in the theater.
It's one of those scenes where it's like, this hits. But the moment you have a kid and you watch that scene again, then you're gonna be like, screw this movie. It's like Prisoners. Like, Prisoners is a great thriller. Then you have a kid, you're like, I'm not watching that movie. Yeah, screw that movie.
I actually love this movie enough. I decided to show it to my mom, and for her, I think it was like a traumatic experience a little bit. She was like, I feel so bad for her. Which,
Dude, the scene in the fireplace
it's kind of a horror movie.
is the dad telling the daughter, I don't know how to tell you that I love you and that I think you're the number one person in the world, and there's absolutely no way for me to ever get this across for you, and I feel that you're miserable, and I can't do anything to stop it. Like,
but it's
why would you show that to your mom?
Yeah.
empathy. So yeah,
Hey, Mom, I know it's Mother's Day, but like, let's pop this on.
Look what I go through.
Yeah.
If this is what kids at 8th grade are going through, can you imagine what I'm going through right now?
Oh.
So yeah, shouts to Bo Burnham, shouts to Elsie Fisher.
Shout out Chicken Nugget Kid.
Shout out Chicken Nugget Kid, definitely. Potential Oscars host.
Hey. Also, he brings out all the sauce. Saucy.
Bo Burnham would be a good Oscar host.
I would not want him to do the Oscars.
You don't think so?
No, like
I think
like from a personal like.
it would be too different, but I would.
No, like I would not want that for him.
his career.
You know what I mean?
Right. I think you do a good job though.
Yeah, the secret.
Personally, of course, I would like it, but it's just like.
The secret thing about being the host of the Oscars is it's a really bad gig.
Yeah.
There's no way to get good reviews doing it.
Hugh Jackman was underrated at doing it. I always say that.
Yeah, and James Franco. Did he do it? Does he know he did it?
I don't know.
Chase, we found out Art's number one. We found out my number one.
True.
I think we know you're number one, but
We do. I'm going to give a disclaimer. I think a lot of people make lists out there nowadays where they're like, oh, we got to, with some mathematical equation, figure out what are the 10 best movies I saw this year. And I don't think that's what that's about. You got to pick your 10 favorites, all right? You got to pick the 10 that speak to you personally.
this is a subtweet.
Yeah, this is a subtweet. Because there's so many people that are like, what's the most well-made movie of the year? If you had to pick one.
Roma.
Rome? I haven't seen Roma, so say it's Roma, they're like, oh, Roma's got to be one. If Roma spoke to your heart, Roma should be number one.
Roma spoke to me probably more than half of the critics who claim they are because I'm literally from
That's
Mexico and I knew the music.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
It's in my top 20, but it's not.
Yeah, same with me.
That's what I'm saying. But I think
Except
a lot
for
of people
the-
get into
from
that
the
trap
art.
of like not actually expressing what their favorite movie is for whatever
Right, yeah,
reason.
because they're too scared to.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
It's the groupthink thing. You know,
is.
you want to
What does everyone else say?
you want to
think that I can
signal
like?
to people that
Yeah.
you
What makes me sound the most legit?
understand the consensus out there and you've heard what people are saying. Yeah.
Of course. So, that being said, mid-90s is my favorite film of the year. That being said, I think a majority of the movies I already talked about, I think, are more well-made than mid-90s. I think there's just better filmmaking techniques going on, maybe better writing, things of that nature. But in terms of a film that spoke to me, that I saw myself in this screen for however long it is, 90-something minutes, I've mentioned it before on here. I've been writing a script for almost a year now. And when I saw this movie, I was like, literally 75% of my ideas are in this movie right now. And I'm glad it works. I'm glad I love it. But I got to change some stuff around. So I just loved every single thing about this movie. I didn't really grow up in the 90s. I was born in 96. So, like, I'm more of like a 2000s kid. I think the 2000s and the 90s are pretty similar. It's kind of just like the same cake but different frosting in a way. It feels very.
Where'd you pull that quote out of?
I've been thinking about this for a while. All right, how do I explain it when I make it one day and talk to Jonah Hill about it? I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be my quote. But I love everything about it. I like
cake.
I overall like 90s hip hop, but like to me that wasn't even like a main factor.
Really?
I thought all the characters were fantastic. They all felt like kids I grew up with. The dynamic between friends versus family, I thought was handled incredibly well. Just the culture of skateboarding, in
And the way it was
general,
used.
Yeah, it just like it gave you that vibe. Like when I skateboarded as a kid, I was shit at skateboarding, but I joined it just because that's what you would do every day. You'd go outside, grab your skateboard, and hang out with kids. I thought it embodied that well. I've listened to pretty much every Jonah Hill interview there is about this movie, and he's become like my favorite person in Hollywood. I want to grab a beer with the dude at some point.
Well, if you're from Oakland, he'll save you.
But yeah, this movie just spoke to me on every possible level. I cried. It has it's the most me movie of the year, and that's why it's my favorite. I've only seen it one time. Listen. I've been meaning to see. Listen.
And all this is saying after teaser 1, I
Right.
can't wait to see the movie.
This is what happened. I had like a bunch of papers due the week when it came out, so I watched it the first day. I'm like, this is amazing. I can't wait to see it again. Do all my work. I want to go see it, and it's out of the theaters already because no one else saw it. So I've been waiting. Comes out on digital this weekend. I'm buying it day one. I'm just gonna have it on repeat every time I have to edit a video. It's my top 5 favorite movies of all time after one viewing. That's how much I love it. It just speaks to me. It's my number 1 of the decade. Thank you.
How do you feel though?
How do I feel? I feel great. I just feel like if it was playing right here, like it's not playing right here.
Moment I got out of the theater in TIFF, first person I messaged was him.
That is true. That's a fact.
Yeah.
First person I messaged, I
true.
said, "This is it. Forget every recommendation I gave you at Sundance. This is the one for you."
So, Art,
right.
what are you more disappointed in? Suspiria on his list or favorite on mine?
Suspiria. No, I don't mind the favorite.
Wait, I was about to say you don't like the favorite. What are your thoughts on the favorite?
It's fine. It's just way too long.
Fair.
It's
I've
6
seen it-
acts and
I've
an
seen it
epilogue.
this week,
6
so.
acts and an epilogue. Everyone keeps doing 6 acts and an
See,
epilogue.
I like the 6 acts and the Suspiria Zach, so I'm excited. Excited to check
Yeah,
it
no.
out.
Suspiria was the one where I was just like, "What are y'all doing here?"
Mm.
That literally gets to a level of pretentiousness, in my opinion. I'm someone who likes enemy.
It's true. I enjoyed it a lot.
So I guess we
Mountain.
can say the intercut movie of the year, though, is Hereditary, between it being number 2 on both
Oh,
of your
yeah.
lists, number 9 on mine.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think we all like 8th grade a lot as well.
Yeah.
8th grade's up there.
Yeah, 8th grade. Was it one of your honorable mentions?
8th grade was like 14. I had it right next to Monsters and Men, which I should have given an honorable
Yeah,
mention
so 8th
to.
grade was high on all our
Widows,
lists.
we all mentioned, I'm pretty
Widows
sure.
was in our top 10,
Yeah.
so yeah. Few movies that are all unanimous selections and some that aren't quite as unanimous. Let us know what your favorite movies of 2018 were in the comments down below. No picks for the week or anything like that. We gave you like 30
We gave you
movies or
picks
so.
for the year.
Exactly. So that's about all for this week's show. Chase, you got Twitter, right?
Yeah, a few mixed review, which
Yeah.
I might change by the end of the week.
There
but
we go.
It's there. You can
You changed the channel name?
no, not the channel name, my Twitter.
Why you changed your Twitter?
Because I want to make it my real name. No.
Okay.
So, yeah, whatever that is, you can find me there. Chase Azarian on YouTube, a few mixed reviews on YouTube. Gonna make some videos come out this week, so you can check that out. And yeah, that's it.
You can catch more from me,
Big
Zach
video.
Shevich, by following me on Twitter at ZShevich or on Instagram and Letterboxd also at ZShevich. Art, where can people check out more from you?
You can find me in New York City, New York. Guys, I'm officially moving here. I'm gonna sleep in the subway for as long as I can. And while you're there, feel free to donate at DZ Show on Facebook, Twitter,
GoFundMe.
Instagram, my own
Patreon.
GoFundMe. Yeah, all the stuff. Let me explain. But of course, you can find me here every week on the Intercut Podcast.
You can listen to every episode of the Intercut Podcast on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on your favorite podcatcher. I happen to like Overcast. And then make sure you're subscribed not just to the audio podcast, but to the video feed as well, where you can watch our bright, smiling faces as we break down the latest in entertainment for you.
This is what he looks like on the other side of the screen.
Find new episodes of The Intercut every Thursday. And please leave us a comment, like the video. Maybe go over to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. Also, like our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter pages. All of them are at Intercut Pod. And you'll get updates throughout the week from me, from Art, probably from Chase, from everybody who's appeared as guest host. I like to send some stuff, retweet some stuff out, all the new movie opinions, so you can keep up to date with the stuff that we don't even share on here. But thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, Kevin Hart broke Eddie Murphy's record for the shortest stint as an Oscars host.
Different cakes, different frosting.
That's what I should have said.
It's a good quote. That's all we're running with.
Just keep that in there.